Today we're going to talk about Vassal. I have a lot of Vassal videos on the channel, a lot of tutorials, um, but I've never sat down and actually built a scenario from start to finish as a tutorial. I've done just bits and pieces of it as parts of different tutorials. So I thought I would just build a simple scenario starting from picking a scenario card, which I've already done, all the way through connecting to the Vassal server so you can play against other people. Of course, you can always use Vassal to play solo, which is sometimes convenient, especially for large games when you have, hundreds of counters and huge maps to take care of, and you don't want them set up on a table in your house for months and months. Um, so this video obviously is live for you watching, but it will be up on the channel when it's done. So if you're not able to stay the whole time, you can watch it at any time. Okay. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is what is Vassal. I think a lot of people may not know exactly what it is, other than it's a way to play virtual advanced squad leader. And some people get the terms mixed up, Vassal and Vassal. There is Vassal, Vassal, the definition of which is basically a servant, to serve somebody. And that's what the Vassal Engine is. It's a game service that you can plug modules in to play various types of games. Oh, and I am monitoring chat, so if anyone has any comments or questions, I'll do my best to answer them as well. And then there is Vassal over here, Virtual Advanced Squad Leader, which is basically the game module that plugs into the Vassal engine that you can play on. So the part in this blue, kind of this blue outline, is what's on your guys' side. It's your computer, your client, your laptop, whatever you're playing on. And on that you install the Vassal engine, which you can think of as your tabletop, where you put down different games. You can put down Squad Leader, what I have here, Monopoly, Risk, Panzer Leader, whatever modules people have created. You slap that down on the Vassal engine table, and you can play. And then if you connect to the Vassal server, you can bring other people in to play, one people or more, depending on the game that you're playing. And then the other part on your computer side is the module. So you're going to need to install the Vassal engine and the Vassal module. Okay, and there is a video on the Vassal playlist on my channel that shows you how to install if you haven't done that already. If not, you can still follow along in this tutorial just fine. If you are going to launch Vassal and try to follow along as I do this, make sure you've done that ahead of time. But let's look at the scenario we're going to do. I picked a scenario that, let's see, where is it? Oh, it's another tab. It's right here. I wanted to pick a scenario that was not too big, but not too small, right? So it wouldn't take forever to put together and wasn't really overly complicated, and it wasn't too small such that it didn't really show you some of the things that Vassal can do. So I picked this scenario. I think it's from Journal 9, Opium Hill. It's a Japanese-British scenario, and it has two boards, three overlays. Uh, it's PTO, so there are some terrain transformations to do. So it shows you a little bit of the basics of the things that can be done in Vassal. Now, what's the first thing you do when you play a scenario with physical components? You pull out the scenario card and go, oh, what components do I need? I need these two boards. I need these counters, and you start pulling them out. Well, let's launch Vassal and start doing that. See if I can find it here. I haven't launched it yet, so let me launch it. And I'm running Vassal 3.57 and Vassal 667, I believe. Yeah, right here. So here is the Vassal engine. You can see I have currently 6 games installed, from BCS Brazen Chariots down to the original Squad Leader. And these are game boxes I can open up and play on the table. But before I open Vassal, I'm going to show you how to install a module real quick. Really easy to do. You just download it from the Vassal website, whatever game is available, and you just go File, Open Module. And I have the latest version of Vassal 668 here. So you just go File, Open Module, click Open, and you'll see it loads a bunch of its assets. and it'll show up in this list here. Boom, I've just loaded that game. I don't want to run this version, so let me cancel that. So I've just loaded the most recent version of Virtual Advanced Squad Leader into the Vassal engine, and it's ready to play. But what we're going to do is we're going to use Vassal 667. You can use 668, it's fine, but I'm going to use 667. Uh, so to open the box and start playing, you just double click on it, and you'll get the same dialogue that popped up just a second ago. And we're going to start a new game. Excuse me. We're going to start a new game offline. Comment. Love to see you play SASL, Solitaire ASL and Vassal, trying to get my head around the rules. I have never played Solitaire ASL, to be honest. And I haven't seen a whole lot of Solitaire ASL stuff on YouTube. Rob, if he is on here still, ASL Spotting Round, I know he does some Solitaire ASL. So maybe Rob, maybe you should whip up some Solitaire ASL videos sometime. Okay, we're going to start a new game offline. We'll connect later. Hit next. Okay, now you're into your board selection. Okay, this is where you start setting up your boards. And boards, let me put up the Rob says he does do that. Okay, so yeah, Dave Flute, go check on ASL Spotting Round, Rob's channel. He's got some solitaire videos there. So here's the board setup. We have board 38 and board 49. North is usually up on most of the scenario sheets. And the funny thing about Vassal is you can only have boards in a horizontal position. You can't rotate the map orientation any way you want. You can flip the boards horizontally, but you can't make them vertical. So you have to remember that when you're putting the board together. It just so happens for this scenario, they line up the same. But if these two boards were flipped vertically like this, you can't flip the boards. You just have to rotate your mind to set them up correctly. So what do we have? 38 and 49. So going to go to board 38. And I believe that orientation is correct. Yes, 38 in the lower left. We're going to have north going up on this as well. Now we won't need to get board 49 below it. So what you want to do is you want to add a row. When you add a row, it will add a row below. When you add column, it'll add a column to the right. So you want to add row. And you can see here now we can add board 49. Now we need to flip it because the orientation of the 49 here, it's kind of probably hard to see on the stream, is to the right. Okay. So what we're going to want to do is just flip it like that, and they're oriented right. We haven't trimmed them yet, but we can do that as soon as I load it up. So you just hit finish, and just like that, you have your basic board setup. We need to trim them down. Some people don't. Some people just play on the section that's playable, but I like to trim them down, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. One thing I wanted to show you first is one of the hidden things, not really hidden, but I think a lot of people overlook it. I like to play with dice over map. It's just easier to see. I usually don't have this window open because there's just too much stuff going on. Unless you run it in windows that are separated, you can run it on a different monitor, but I usually keep this closed and run the dice over the map. So to get to that special stuff, there's this German soldier throwing the potato masher, the orange icon. You click on that, and you can toggle dice over map using that selection there. So I turned it on. You can move dice over map to one side or the other. These are the commands for dice over map. And then this is where you also customize your QC bar, which is, I think QC stands for quick counter. That's this bar up here. And I have mine pretty much maxed out to the width of my computer resolution. I might be able to add a few more. And I have lots of stuff nested in here that you can see. But this is where you do some of that custom configuration here, okay? Let's trim these boards down. We've got board 38. The information is right here. Board 38 is R through G. Board 49 is A through P, okay? So again, click the orange potato masher guy and click on pick new boards for this scenario. That's where you can do your board transformations. And we want to crop the boards. So we want to crop board 38 first, which is the top one. So you pick that one. I believe it was R through GG. Just go R through GG. I like to crop the nearest hex row, full hex row. Otherwise, it'll crop down a half a hex row down the center. Then hit crop. And you can see here, it did crop the top one. Now we need to crop the bottom one, board 49, and I forget what it was. It is A through P. Just put in A through P, crop to full hex, hit crop, hit done, hit OK, and boom. You've got your board configuration without overlays yet, but basically you've cropped it down to exactly the board configuration shown in the red area here. Okay, now the next thing you do when you're playing a physical game using physical components and you slap down your boards, you're like, okay, it's got overlays. We got to pull those overlays out, however you store those. But in virtual ASL, it is very easy. So let's go down to the SSRs and see what overlays we have. We have Woods 12, Hill 8, and Orchard Woods 1. Okay. Now we come back to, where's my window? There it is. Now the easiest way to do this is to install the overlays extension. And to install extensions, I have another video to do that. There's still ways to do it. You can do it the old school way, which is pick new boards again and go add overlays. It's a little bit cumbersome. It can be done, but you need to know the overlay name, and then you need to know the hex numbers. You put them in, and you have to actually type them in here and hit add. It works. It's inefficient. I like to do it with the overlay extension. So you just click on, you install it, relaunch Vassal, and it should show up here on the top. Stu says cropped maps should be full hex by default. Yeah, it should be the other way around. They should be default full hex and half hex by choice, because I always have to click that button to make sure I get the full hex. Stu made me forget what overlays I have. Okay, Woods 12. Okay, so the way it works with the overlay extension is easy. You just WD12, just come down to WD, grab 12, drag it out. Boom, overlay. What else do we have? Oop. We had Hill 8, Orchard Woods 1. Hills. Oop. Hill 8. Pull it out. And Orchard Woods is, I think there's only one. Yeah, pull it out. Let's put it. Did it come out? Nope. Let's put it right there so it's out of the way. Okay, just like that, you've pulled the 3 extensions out. Yeah, Rob says, love the new overlay extension. Yeah, it's been around a while. I don't know if people are really aware of it, because it makes putting overlays down super easy. Very, very easy. To select an overlay, once it's on the board, you just hit Alt. Not on a Mac, I'm not sure what it is, something equivalent to this. Alt, and then just left mouse button to select it, so you can move it around, okay? All right, let's place, let's zoom in a little bit here. Let's get rid of these, get those out of the way. Let's see, Woods 12 is on. I'm going to move this to a different screen so I can see it while I'm doing it. So Woods 12 here, that's the Woods. You can see the numbers here. There's a 1 and a 2. Those numbers need to go on the 2 hexes shown in the SSRs. So D8, W49, D8, and E8 is where 1 and 2 need to go respectively. So 49, what was it? D8, E8. D8, and E8. So the number 1 needs to go here and the number 2 needs to go here. Okay, so we select it, rotate it, and we only need to rotate it once. I like to grab the 1 hex on the overlay where the dot is, and then just take it to where the D8 is. That's where number 1 needs to go, and drop it. And just like that, you've placed overlay of the woods. Let's see, hill 8 needs to go in K2L1. K2 K2L1. So it needs to go 1, 2. Oops, I think I had it. K2L1. K2, sorry, K2L1, not K2. Okay, K2L1. There it is. Okay. K2L1. Just like that. And this guy, Woods Orchard Woods, needs to go in N10O10. And N10O10. It's up here a little bit. Yeah, N10O10. Just like that. Grab hex 1, put it in N10. And just like that, you have placed your overlays. 3 overlays. Woods, hill, orchard for this scenario. Okay, you basically got your board set up. Let me put this back up here. Basically have your board set up, but there's one more thing we need to do since it is a PTO scenario. We need to go down to special rules. So PTO is in effect. This is where the terrain transformation comes in. So you can transform all kinds of terrain. You can do a piecemeal or a wholesale PTO transformation, or you can do things piecemeal. You can convert all buildings to wood buildings, or all roads to dirt roads, or get rid of all roads. You can do all kinds of things. But this one's a little bit special. It's PTO terrain, but all roads, bridges, buildings, lumberyards exist, and all buildings have ground level only, which isn't much of a transformation anyway. But PTO, normally all roads go away, bridges go away or become fords. Some buildings become huts. But in this case, everything stays the same, but we're basically going to turn, brush into bamboo, orchards into palm trees, that kind of thing. And we'll do that with the terrain transformation. So come up to the orange potato peeler or potato masher guy, pick new boards again. This is where you do all your board modification. Terrain SSR. Okay. And it's kind of small. I wish I could zoom in, but I really can't. And to do a wholesale PTO transformation, you can just come up here and pick PTO Light Jungle. But what that's going to do is that's probably going to get rid of all your roads and that sort of thing. So we don't really want to do that. We want to come down to PTO and mess with this here. Okay. So it's not dense jungle. It's light jungle. We want bamboo. We want palm trees. Multiple wood buildings or huts. No, because all buildings are normal. We want to keep that. Let's put that back where that was. And then under roads, we want normal. Woods paths, we'll leave those as paths. I don't even think there are any. And I think bridges. No, we've got to click no bridges off. Normally they go away in PTO, but they exist here. Bridges are fords, get rid of that. No sunken elevator roads. I think we have everything. It's just going to convert all these to palm trees and all of the brush to bamboo, which makes them inherent terrain. So hit apply here, and then done, then hit OK. And you can see, yep, the brush became bamboo. It's inherent terrain. All the orchards became palm trees. But we kept all the roads, and the bridges, which the scenario asked for. But you may have noticed that the overlays did not change. There's still palm trees on here. There's still palm trees on here. Now this is where it gets a little bit tricky. This didn't change because it's not dense jungle, so the woods look normal. But sometimes you can click on overlays and do transformations. Not all of them. Let's see what we can do here. So let's check the woods. Just yeah, so you could transform this overlay into a dense jungle like that. But we don't have dense jungle, so I'll turn that off. This hill we can do. Doesn't look like we can do any transformation on this hill overlay. This orchard here. Yeah, we can do PTO in general or dense light jungle or dense jungle light woods. So just click on PTO and it converts the orchards into palm trees. So we're able to transform two of the three overlays into PTO terrain here. And that's it. That's your board is set up already. I mean, it slows me down a little bit explaining these things, but to do it yourself, you can probably set up a board like this in, I don't know, a few minutes, pulling them out, cropping them, and throwing the overlays down. Hardest part for me is rotating the overlays and getting them in the right orientation where the 1 and 2 go on the correct hex. Okay. All right. Any questions in chat? Chat, you guys are quiet. No questions about weird things that you might be able to do in a Vassal scenario setup? Okay. Let's go back to the scenario card. What do we have? Okay, we've got the board set up. We have the overlays on it. We have SSRs, at least the terrain SSRs. So the playing surface is ready to go. Okay. Next thing to do is start adding things to the map. Now, you can bling it out. There are some people that have a thing against bling. I don't know why, because it's just information that you would normally have on, say, let's see, if you were actually playing a scenario physically on the table, you'd have some kind of tracking sheet for this information, whether it's the one that comes with ASL or there's various homemade type of things where you track ELR, sniper activation, what turn it is, wind force, wind direction. It's all there. This is just a virtual version of it, but some people seem to have a hang up with Vassal Bling. I do not. Okay. So you can start by adding your bling or pulling counters. I'm going to show you how to pull the counters first, and then I'll show you how to do a little bit of bling at the end there. Okay. Pulling counters. Let's look at the order battle here. Go back to the scenario. We have the Brits and the Japanese. I am not going to pull all of these counters out. I'm just going to show you where they are. Okay. Let me pull this out of the way. Let's do the Brits here. So for this one, you're going to want to pull down this information console, whether it's attached to your Vassal playing service or if you have it detached in the preferences. So all you need to do is click this show hide Vassal counter window, and then it'll pop up over here on the left. And this is where all of your Vassal counters are. Now we want to pull information counters and order of battle. Allied order of battle and Axis order of battle. So I was going to start with the Brits. So just pick Axis order of battle. Let me make sure I can see chat here. Okay. In case someone asks a question. Axis order of battle. Click down to, I was going to do the Brits first. Allied order of battle and do the British. Okay. Here's where you pull your concealment counters, your sniper counter. We'll just pull the sniper counter out. Here's where all your squads are. Sometimes there's tabs on here, right? So there's some airborne units, some Korean units, right? Just keep an eye on where the tabs might be, where you might get special counters. But normally for the default ASL, they're in the first tab. Here's where all your half squads are, single man counters, your leaders, and heroes. Sport weapons, mainly like light support weapons, like machine guns, light mortars, maybe. Guns, this is where you get into, artillery, heavy mortars, anti-tank guns, etc. You can see the sub tabs here. vehicles, air for parachutes, and some. I can't remember if this might be an extension I have. I don't know if Berserk is chat. Is Berserk default in Vassal, or do I have an extension? I might have an extension that adds these in there. And then Axis sort of battle, same. Just go Japanese, right? Just start pulling your counters out. I need some of these squads. If you need to clone them, you just Control K and just make copies of them. Pull your leaders out, and you start building your order of battle based on the scenario sheet. Depending on the size of scenario, it might take you, I don't know, a few minutes to pull a normal size scenario, all the units out. The trickiest part is sometimes finding the vehicles, especially if it's a relatively obscure vehicle, because some of the vehicles in larger orders of battle, like let's say maybe the Russians, yeah, you can get vehicles that have subgroups. So this is the main group, and then the middle column is the subgroup. So tankette, here they are listed. Light tank, it lists a bunch more. Then you click on one of these, and it shows a unit, and you can pull it out. Okay. Finding vehicles can be the trickiest part of it, but you just need to peck and search through the menus to find the vehicle that you need. All right. So that's how you pull your order of battle. I wasn't going to pull a full order of battle for you guys because just showing you where it is and how to pull them out and copy and clone them is pretty easy. Okay, let's talk about bling here. Now, there are two ways you can do this. You need basic information, tracking information for your scenario. Okay, you need a phase track, not a phase track, a turn track here. Now these are. Oh, another thing in Vassal, when you see this double bar here, that means there's another window behind it. If you can't find things, watch for these bars being kind of stacked up on top of one another, and there's more hidden stuff in there sometimes. Okay. Now Vassal has generic, pretty simple. It says 1 through 8, and you can add to it, right, to build a turn track. Or you can bling it out a little bit more, which is what you can find on my website. So if you go to my website, let me zoom in here a little bit, make it a little bit bigger for you guys. And the URL is it's right up here. It's also in the video description below. And if you go to the Vassal scenario generator, some of you guys have probably seen this in scenarios. This is where you do that, right? You can just fill in the information here, and it'll build this table. You grab the HTML, and you can dump it into the game, and it'll show you all the information, not all, but pretty much most of the information that you would use in a normal setup sheet here, that you would use playing a physical game. It's meant to basically be a virtual replacement of this, right? Now I'm not going to type in all the information here. I did it ahead of time in this other tab, and I've created the scenario table for this scenario, Opium Hill, and all I've done, went ahead of time and filled in all this information, right? Then you just, when you're done, it'll preview it here. Let's do what's the scenario look like? What's the map look like? We would want to probably do a horizontal one on the left or the right, to try to widen it out. Instead of stacking more information on the top of this and make it a really long, you'd probably want to do a vertical type of table here. So let's convert this to a vertical. Okay, and you can do a compact vertical, which we'd probably do because it's only 6 turns. You don't have all this extra stuff hanging down. And once you've selected the size you want, you just come down here to show hide HTML after you fill all the information in and the preview looks good. Just hit copy HTML to clipboard. Then you come back to your game. And what you want to do is, there's two ways you can do this. The way I prefer is you go to overlays and you click on the HTML overlay placeholder. You just pull this out and you right click and you go HTML code and you paste it in there. What you just copied from the website, and you hit OK. Boom, table. The reason I like using this one is because it moves around more smoothly, and you can fine tune it using control arrow keys. So you can easily line it up with things like that. So just like that, we have a little bling on the scenario. The alternate way to do it, which is the way I did it for quite a while, is you go to draggable overlays, this little icon up here, and you go to map annotations and labels, and you pick any of these labels and drag it out. And you can do the same thing here, and you do it in like line 2. I haven't used this one in a while yet, but it's not as easy to fine tune because you can't do the control move that incrementally moves it around like this one can do. So I prefer the oops, let me delete this. I prefer the overlays HTML placeholder method myself. Okay, so that's how you get a little bling in there. I find this useful myself. It's got all the information you need. And the other thing I wanted to show you is how to use the custom turn markers. So if we go back to our, pull our counters out, we go to custom turn. So I do custom phase wheel first and just pull it out. And it shows the Spy versus Spy guys from Mad Magazine, right? As default. But all you have to do is when you pull it out, you notice that this phase wheel shows the turn number you're on up here versus the where's the old phase track? Yeah, the old school phase track, it doesn't really show you much detail. This is a new phase track under the custom. You just pick it and you go right click and you go set sides. Now in this scenario, I think who goes first? Japanese go first. So set Japanese first as their turn, and then set the Brits second. Or are they British? Okay, just like that. You've got your phase wheel. And as you increment this, you'll notice, let's see, Control F. Who go Control F? When you get to the end of the turn, it'll automatically flip to the British side. And then when you get to turn 2, it'll go back to the Japanese side and increment this to turn 2. And then once you've set that, you go back to custom and you pull out turn. The turns are already set as well. So when you flip, it goes to British and Japanese. It's automatically set up once you set the nationalities using the custom phase wheel and the custom turn markers. Okay. Is chat working? I'm not seeing any questions. You guys, hopefully you're experts at Vassal at this point. Now the last thing I wanted to show you real quick, and again, I'm not going to build it out, but if you click on the notes creator here, you can also add notes, boxes of various sizes. This is some JavaScript I wrote a while ago. I don't think many people use this. I use it in my scenarios. So you can see I started filling this in. Oops. Let me start over. Come on, refresh. Let me go all the way back to here. Notes creator. There we go. What was a 56th Infantry Regiment. And you can see up here, it'll start filling in information. We want to pick, I think it was a Japanese, 56th. And it changes the colors and the logo. We want to clear the note box, and then you can set the box height to create empty boxes. Or you can start filling information in as well. Okay. And then again, you can get the HTML code and copy it and paste it in a box. I have too many windows open. Just like this. And create boxes wherever you need for nationalities, for casualties, for reinforcements, whatever. Okay. Now I'm going to close this and show you this scenario that's fully finished. Not going to save it because I created this ahead of time. So yeah, right here. Okay, this is the fully finished scenario, Vassal scenario. Board setup, overlays put on, victory condition V's put in the victory condition buildings, and order of battles put in boxes for the 56th Infantry Regiment, 1st Malayan Brigade, and 3rd Cavalry AFV reinforcements, and your full table of information. It looks like I did a full height table here because I have all the information counters here. And in Vassal, I created on the quick counter bar, I created a drop down that has all the information. So I don't need to go hunting. When I create a new scenario, I can just come over here and start pulling out north arrow, wind direction, environmental conditions, and dumping them in this table here. Okay, so I suggest if you play Vassal a lot, configure your quick counter bar to make sure you can make things go quickly for you, either when you're setting up and playing. Edward Pocock III. I wish I could stick around. I hope to God you post this. Yes, it will be posted. It'll stick around once the live stream is done. I love the counters you can touch, but this is awesome way to play. Yeah, well that's one thing I wanted to point out. Where are we at? We're at oh God, we're at 48 minutes. I wanted this to be a half hour. Okay, we're almost done. One thing I wanted to point out is some people seem hesitant or resistant to playing on Vassal, but as you know, the people watching know either live or later, is finding ASL players is not the easiest thing. Has my head been in the way this whole time? Hopefully not too much. It's hard to find players face to face, right? Unless you're lucky and have a friend or have a group or a play group, right? A lot of people play on Vassal, and people shouldn't be resistant to playing ASL on Vassal. I mean, it's come a long way from what it was, 10, 15 years ago. I mean, it looks really good now. Highly functional. I can probably say without a doubt, the most developed module for the Vassal engine system by a mile. It's not even close. And the most played game on the Vassal engine. And to reflect that, I want to show you, you can look at, oh, and I'll show you how to connect shortly after this. So you can go to the Vassal engine startup, and you can look at server status. You can go to the last month, and it'll load up all the data, and you can go down to Vassal. And you can see these other games. In the last month, there were 6 rooms created, 6 rooms, 16 for all these different types of games, 12 rooms, 39 rooms. And then you come down to Vassal. Come down to Vassal, where is it? Vassal, 6,372 rooms created, ASL games created in the past month. Lots of people play the game on Vassal, but it seems like I hear a lot of people also resistant to it. You shouldn't be resistant to it. It connects players from all over the world at any time, essentially playing the same game, except you're playing it on a virtual desktop instead of in front of you. It's just the the state of our game. It's a very niche, specialized game, and we're an aging demographic. So don't be afraid to jump into Vassal and start playing. Thousands of people play games every month on this thing. Okay, now that you've got it set up and you want to play somebody, what do? Okay, you see this icon up here, the two arrows going like this. That will show the server controls. Click that, and it's going to be in this window up here, right here. That shows you the server controls. All you have to do is click on this to connect to the server. And just like that, you're on the Vassal server. And I am currently in the main room right now. If I want to create a new room to play in, I just go to new room and type whatever. I'll type Opium Hill. I can't spell Hill. And hit create. And now somebody, when they launch into the server and they see, if I'm playing Scott, for example, my regular play partner, he'll see the room. He just comes over to it and right clicks on it. Oh, I can't join my own room. I'm not in it. So if I wanted to join this room, you right click on it and go join room. And I am going to do that. Let's join a room. Let's go to simple equation and join room. It's going to unload my version, but I have it saved. Uh-oh, configuration error. We're running different versions, but it's just going to tell me that as a warning. It usually works fine. So here we are. We're watching these guys play a simple equation, and we will see all their die rolls if they make them. We can mess with their counters. We are not going to mess with their counters. Do not ever touch anyone's counters, because you're actually in the game and able to interact with everything. I don't know why. I don't know the programming reason why you can't set owners of the room. So the two main players are the only ones that can touch the components, and everyone else is an observer, and they can't do anything. But at this point, anyone in a room can mess with anything, which is good and bad. It's good in that you could do 3-4 player scenarios if you wanted to in Vassal or some other game, or just 2 players, or you can lock the room if you're worried about security. You can. I can't do it. I'm not in my room anymore, but I can go back to the main room. We'll just do a test, do a create, and right click and you go lock room, and then nobody can come in. Let's see, what does Stu say? Players should also play in open rooms on Discord. Yeah. That's good and bad too, right? You could have people, what's it called, kibutzing, like telling you how to play or what you did wrong. If they just want to listen, that's fine. But once they start, interfering with your flow of your game, that's when I probably have a problem with it. Edward says he has to go. Okay, yeah, thanks. Yeah, you can mute them, Stu, I guess. Yeah. You shouldn't have to mute them, but I suppose you could, yeah. But yeah, if you're learning to play, it's probably a good way to learn if you see people on Discord, to jump in. Just make sure you don't interfere too much if you're listening in and following along on Vassal. That's it. We said it. What did we do? Did we accomplish our goal? I showed you what Vassal was. I showed you how to launch Vassal, pull boards, trim boards, place overlays, transform terrain, pull your orders of battle, add your information bling if you choose to do that, and where you can find it on my website, and how to connect to a server and join a room and start playing ASL in a short 54 minutes, little 24 minutes too long. All right. Any final comments or questions, guys? Because I am going to wrap this up. Thanks for watching. Again, this video will be up in perpetuity now that it's once I shut down the live stream. Oh, my wife was watching. Oh, great. How'd I do? She said I did a great job, but she may be a bit biased. All right, guys. Appreciate it. See you in the next video. Ciao.
Get to the chopper!
If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you saw, thanks for watching, and let me know how I can do better. See you in the next video.